Okay, there we go. It started it.
Sweet.
You still look clear on my side, so I think it's good. Alrighty. Do you want to start at 45 seconds after?
Yes.
I still need to put the WD-40 on this thing. All right.
Did you click late? I feel like
I
you
started
clicked
it.
late.
I'm good. I'm good.
I might have clicked a little late.
We're good, Becca.
Okay. We're live.
Hi, we are live.
We're live and we're late. Well, Becca was late. Ryan
I
was
was gonna say
actually
you're
on
late.
time.
Normally I'm late, so
Yeah, I forgot.
yeah. I was like, no, I'll be good. The one time I don't remind you, because we just talked about it today, right?
Yeah.
So okay, why were you late?
So apart from the fact that I forget everything, I mixed up colored slips today, and I was putting them on a plaster bat and making fun little earrings to test the colors, and I got distracted.
Oh, what were you coloring the slips with? Do you have mason stains and all that, or did you use
Yeah,
some underglazes or?
I bought some mason stains like a while ago, and they didn't work for what I was gonna use them for, but now I'm gonna use them for like earrings and like I want to do. Starting off early. Specifically, I want to do studs.
Okay, so
Stud
colored
earrings.
studs without stroke and coat, or just you're
Right.
just trying them out?
Or maybe with stroke and coat, if I can make them so that they're like blue on the back and then green on the front, that might be fun.
Okay, because right
Yeah.
now you're just using the clay fresh and then adding stroke and coats on some of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So what clay were
we'll
you adding
see.
it to? Because you don't. Do you have a straight white clay, or were you adding them to Dark Star?
So this is a funny story. So I asked Sarah to pick me up some slip from the store from Brickyard Ceramics,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wanted like wet slip, and she brought me this box, and I was like, she was like, yeah, it's powdered, and I was like, I didn't want powdered. I wanted
That's
wet
not
slip.
wet. Yeah.
And then I didn't open it because I wasn't like excited about it. I was like, fuck, I have to like mix the powder. And then I was like, but then how is it like deflocculated and blah blah blah? And then I opened the box today and it's fucking wet. It was just in a bag.
But you couldn't find it. You didn't pick the box up, and you can feel that there's water there versus like dry.
I did not.
Okay.
Yeah. I just kind of like took her at her word. And it was funny because she walked in and I was like, Sarah, this is wet. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah.
Oh, it seems like she
So
would have known that though.
I don't know. We just didn't know
Yeah,
all of
whatever.
it. And so
I guess
it's
the difference would be it's harder to mix it to the right consistency because it's liquid. Like, how do you know how much stain to put in? Because the stain is in powder form. Do you just guess?
uh Kurt told me 10% is the max, so I put 10%.
10% of what? Because it's dry. How do you know what the dry equivalent would be in 10%? Because
No,
it's
it's like 10% of the dry to the liquid. So
okay. So you just did liquid weight versus dry weight.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll see if they turn out, you know. Um yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the whole slips situation. I mean the stud situation, how I want to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But that's specifically what it's for.
Because you've already kind of figured out the what you like about the hoops and the other designs. It's just the
Right, but these ones are like fun and like funky. You know, if I can figure this out, I'll be really excited. Yeah.
I feel like the studs are meant to be more like neutral or like
Agreed. Agreed. I
subtle.
meant
They're not.
the I'm doing like these weird little hoops on the plaster, so I'm like it's a flat plaster and then I'm putting the slip in a hoop form and then like building on top of it so it's a little bit thicker and then I did little dots of different colors.
Oh, okay. So you're just designing straight with the clay
Yeah,
and then letting it dry and see how they turn out.
yeah. So it should be interesting. It's like pure fun test,
Hmm.
But also I need to get the colors of the slip anyway, so this is just a fun way to do it.
Yeah. Well, part of the nice thing about the colored slip is it's not going to stick to the shelf.
Yeah.
So firing's a little easier, I guess, and maybe more predictable than underglaze. Like timing wise, it's probably, I don't know, maybe it's not as time effective, but
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, slip is a completely different situation for me. But yeah.
okay.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I had a clay lines meeting tonight, board meeting, and got another kiln loaded up before that. Got a bisque kiln, firing a glaze kiln. I have not moved my new L&L down to the studio yet, but I don't know. You got to do the whole, move where do you put the other one? You move it out, and then you
Yeah.
got to hook up the vent and stuff, make sure it's sealed properly on the stand and all that, so that I don't have to move it around a lot and all that stuff. So, and then
Yeah.
I got to take it apart to get it down to the basement. So,
Yeah. Not gonna lie, I was not unhappy that I don't have to help you move it.
yeah. Well, it's fresh, brand new out of the box, so I think the taking it apart, putting it back together should be easier than after it's been fired a few times and the things are rusted a little bit and all that good stuff. So
It doesn't matter, I don't think.
I
To
don't know.
me, it doesn't matter. It
We'll
fucking
see.
sucks no matter what. Moving a kiln is never a fun situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. So yeah, besides that, the in the bisque that I threw in there was a bunch of the stuff that you threw for me,
Oh, nice.
and we didn't talk since. I mean, we did a little bit, I guess, but Becca was here for a week, threw a bunch of stuff for me while she was here. A lot of oil bottles, mugs, and things. We didn't talk. Did we talk about that the other day? I don't think we did.
A little bit,
A
yeah.
little bit,
We
yeah.
started with that, I think, yeah.
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 So that was good. It was nice to get restocked on some. Not restocked. It feels much better when I've got plenty of stock of things. And I did get a wholesale order recently for 30 oil bottles, so those oil bottles will
Oh,
come in handy.
nice. Nice. I'm glad I threw the wrong ones. What?
Yeah. I was looking at, so they were completely bone dry by now when I threw them in there. And I was looking at the openings. Some of them, I'm like, those are gonna be too big. Those are gonna be too big. There's like a couple that are too small, and like maybe 3 or 4 that are too big. But
I swear to God, I checked every single one. Maybe I didn't check one, but
yeah,
uh,
it's close. Like, yeah, we'll see. We'll
yeah.
see how they turn out. Even if they're a little big, it'll be
And
fun.
and Ryan's like, "Oh, it's this big," and then I'm like, "Okay," and he's like, "No, no, no, it's not that big. It's this big," and I'm like, "You just see it with your eyes," and
Yeah. Well, because I could look at a board of 20 of them and be like, that one's too big and that one's too big and that one's too
yeah,
small. Just because I've made hundreds of them, so I figure out what works now.
yeah,
But they all looked really good. Like you got them taller than I normally do. So
yeah.
you got that going for you for sure. Looking good.
I threw my first 25 cups today
I saw
of
you had some new
my.
forms. What's that about? What's the
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm of the belief that I think that you should at least spice it up a little bit with your products every year, not only for you, but for your customers. Um, like something new at least once a year.
Okay. This
So,
isn't a desperation choice.
no, 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 no. No, I thought it would be fun. I mean, I've been rolling with the wine glass shape for a while, and I was using a cup recently and I was like, wow, I really love the shape of this and the size. and it was like a tall boy, but it was a shorter, like a smaller tall boy, and not tall boy,
Like a cocktail
highball.
glass?
Sorry, a highball. Yeah,
Highball glass,
like
yeah.
like a highball cocktail glass. And for those who don't know, highball and lowballs are it's essentially like those short cocktail glasses and then the really tall ones that are a little bit skinnier. Well, they don't really have to be skinny, but it's essentially a single and a double. So,
They kind of hold the same thing. Well, it depends on where you're drinking it, I
yeah.
guess.
Yeah, but so I was like, it would be really nice to just have a cylinder, just like a nice fucking cylinder. And
You made those
so I
tall
did,
ones with the fancy cups a couple years ago, but they were dented. They weren't
yeah,
really they were tumblers, but they weren't exactly
they
what
were
you're.
like fucking, yeah, those were big. Those were like 16 to 20 ounces. These ones will not be big. These will be like 8 ounces. So,
Oh,
yeah,
the tall
so,
one's only 8 ounces.
hmm
Oh,
so it's like a smaller cup, but it's like what you would put like a fancy ice cube in and like have a martini in or what, not a martini because you
you'd
put those
have
in certain glasses,
a
but
tiki like a
yeah, like a tiki drink or whatever.
yeah like a
Uh,
tequila sunrise or something in it, or a
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I like
margarita
the
or something.
size. I think it'll be like 5.5 inches tall. I like the size, and I'm excited because it's a little bit more of a simple shape, but I think that there's a lot of potential
And
for
you're using
design.
that as a canvas for your fancy cups, or is it
Yeah,
just those? Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that'll give
and
you some different uh, scenes to
yeah,
play with because it's less real estate. The tall glass for sure. It's
yeah.
more in the round, so you can really play around with the options there.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about it for the last couple of weeks and I'm pretty stoked I mean, it's so weird when, it's so weird that like it takes such a long time to think about a cylinder and like how you want that cylinder to look like, you know?
Yeah, because it's just like just throw a fucking cylinder and trim it,
Right.
but
Exactly.
it's not that simple. Like people that go through making things look simple.
Yeah, it's just like, and Merritt was like, it's really hard to throw like just a nice fucking cylinder, like a straight ass cylinder. And I think it is. And I want it to be more of like a glass, like where you look at it and you're like, that doesn't seem like it's pottery, you know?
Hmm.
Like that seems like it should be glass. So that's kind of what I want it to feel like.
Yeah, because there's no room for error with such a simple shape.
None.
You notice. Like
Yeah.
if it's subtly going inward instead of vertical, like you can notice
Right.
that.
Yeah, you notice it.
If there's a little bulge in there, you
Yeah.
can't necessarily trim out a little bulge. Like it won't look perfect.
Right. It has to be perfect. And I kind of love that about it. So we'll see. We'll see if people like them. And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, besides that, just making some stuff. I'm trying to think if anything else is new over here. Not really. I've got the wheel is getting fixed. Actually, the wheel got fixed. I need to get it tomorrow.
Oh, tell us about that. Tell us about
I
how,
mean, I don't
like,
know. You tell us about it. What happened?
oh, they didn't tell you what was wrong with it?
Oh, I thought. Did you talk about it on here? Like what happened with the wheel?
Well, I said that I broke it. That was it.
They just ended up getting a new. I don't know if it was a circuit board. It was the board for my box. So I want to say it was a $200 circuit board kind of thing.
Okay, so it was $200.
Yeah, it was the D30 110-volt board for that box. Yeah. So and then it sounded like that was it. They thought Ben was gonna have to fix it because he was on vacation, but John fixed it for me. So I'll see it
Okay.
tomorrow, and I'll confirm like exactly what they had to do.
And also
But
confirm if I broke it or if it was going to be broken.
I mean, the wheels from 1994. I don't know what sparks those things to break, but I could
Yeah.
always ask. I could always ask John and find out if.
Because I mean, I can pay you for it if I was the one that broke it.
I mean, they could also be like, we don't know exactly, but this is like a thing that could break.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably do know. They could probably put the circuit things on it and see if there's a charge or not, and
Yeah.
swap it out with another one that they have and see if it works. If that works,
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, then it's fixed.
Yeah.
And the
Nice.
fuse got replaced too since you got that. So yeah.
Yep.
So we'll get it tomorrow and we'll see. Should be back in business. So it's
Nice.
been weird seeing the. I mean, I did clean the floor in that area, so it looks a little cleaner in the studio, but
Yeah.
it is a little weird not having that wheel in there.
You know what I was thinking today, because I really, 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 really hate trimming on my current Soldner, just because, not because of the wheel, but because all the trimmings get like under the wheel and on top of the wheel, and you can't like go from wet to dry to wet to dry to
Is there
wet to
not a
dry.
splash pan with that Soldner?
No. So,
I
I mean,
fucking
there
hate
is.
that.
Well, I could have bought a splash pan. I just told them no. And the splash pan's a lot different than like a normal splash pan. It wouldn't catch any trimmings anyway.
Okay.
So,
And you have your gift and grip on there.
yeah, and I have the gift and grip on there, blah blah blah. So,
Don't
but
tell
I
me you're
was
gonna
like,
buy another wheel.
no, I have 3. Like, don't need another wheel. Uh, no, I was just thinking that I have my portable wheel in the van here, and it'd be nice to just like put it in a Rubbermaid box and trim in it with because now I have the Gift and Grip Mini. I can trim on the Mini, and then I don't have to worry about like the trimmings going all over the
Yeah,
floor.
as long as you don't have to like T-Rex arm it in there to like make sure that you can
Right.
trim
Yeah,
it inside the
for sure.
box somehow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you
I
almost
was
have to
just,
have a like certain wheels have good splash pan. Like Brent's got a good splash pan that catches a lot of shit.
yeah.
Like Shimpo's have pretty good splash pans. Pacifica's I
Most
think have an
actually,
okay one.
most wheels have good splash pans. The the Soldners just happen to be the ones that don't. Like,
Yeah, I it just seemed like when I see people trim and they just don't have a splash pan, they just get the shit everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh, that seems horrible.
it's really infuriating.
Because
What
you
I
can't
do,
clean it up that well unless you can move your wheel completely out of the way, sweep it.
yeah,
I mean, you
what
don't
I
really want to be
do,
sweeping, but
what I do on the top is that I actually have a piece of cardboard that I rigged to sit right on the wheel. Okay, Babs,
there's Babs.
please move. um, so I have a piece of cardboard that sits on top of the wheel, so anything that would go out to the wall gets caught by that piece of cardboard. I just no stop. You don't need to go. Stop, you bitch. Um, but I just have I don't have anything for the floor. So anything that comes back at me goes on the floor, and then I just sweep it up. It's just really fucking annoying,
Yeah, you almost
and
need
I hate it.
little. Can you have little binder clips on the sides of it to binder clip a cardboard along the boundary so it can kind of act as a catch?
Oh, that's what I have on. That's what I have on that, but just on the floor part. Like
Oh, okay.
from my stomach to the wheel. That's the part that's
Oh,
not.
I gotcha. So
Yeah,
you kind of catch
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, it is what it is, though. You know, what are
How
you
have
gonna
you
do?
been? Have you been getting the studio right now in Indy? Because you've been in there for about a week now, or maybe less than a week. But
Yeah, I putzed around for like 3 days and did nothing, and then finally threw 25 pieces today and decided that that was enough. Um, my plan though. My current plan is to throw 50 pieces, trim 50 pieces in a day. Um, and that should get me to, and give or take 50, but that should get me to 500.
Give or take 50. What does that mean? You either don't do 50 or you do 50?
No, like sometime like today I messed up on 2, so I got 24.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
There's 26 balls of clay to a bag, so 2 bags is happening a day.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
So I figure if I do 50 a day and trim 50 a day, I should get to 500 or whatever my goal is, pretty quickly, you know?
Yeah.
Next couple weeks. So,
given that you ramp up that time and you don't lose another 2 or 3 days like you have, but you were kind of experimenting too, so.
yeah, but I'm also not in a rush, you know?
Yeah.
Which is a nice feeling. So.
Sweet.
Yeah, and I've been selling some things on Etsy. Whee!
More earrings?
Yeah, well, and fidget stones, so whee!
Did you
That's
have
good.
fidget stones?
Yeah.
Oh, you still had some. Okay. I know you just bisqued them. Did you fire a bunch already?
I just fired a bunch that were black. I should have saved more than I had, but I did save a few because, of course, everybody that ordered like blue and pink.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're saying from the ones you gave out at ClayCon at Insika? Or you had more besides those?
I had more back home that didn't have any dots on them.
Oh, okay. So you just had to
I
glaze
just
them and
dotted them.
fire them, and then
Yeah.
the batch that you took from here. You haven't finished those yet, have you? Any of those tests?
I'm firing 2 tumbles worth for their glaze firing today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to see what they look like when they come out.
Yeah. The gray ones in bisque look really cool. And it turns out that we're going to kind of talk about this today, but it turns out that it only takes a day to tumble at bisque. So that's really good.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's really good news. Yeah. What are we going to talk about today, Ryan? Well, we have a few things that we're talking about.
Yeah, let's do this first listener question. So this one is from upbeat.studios. I didn't look at their profile, but okay, so it reads, "Hello, I listen to you guys so much that I feel like I know you. Anyways, I'm wondering what you guys would recommend for a portable wheel. I heard Becca talk about hers on ClayCon West podcast, and I'm pretty sure I saw that Ryan has one as well. Would love y'all's insight. Thanks for all you guys do to make this info accessible." Upbeat.studios. All right, I think we both have the same exact wheel. So,
Yeah.
is it?
We both have a Shimpo Aspire, but the only other portable wheel on the market is
There's one other one too besides the one you're thinking of.
Oh, you're right, there is one other one. The only one that seems to be well, anyway, the Speedball Artista is the second one, and then there's another one called the Quark Wheel.
Yep. I do not have experience with a Quark Wheel.
Yeah.
That one's supposedly a battery. They have different options. They've got a battery powered one. They've got one that plugs into a cigarette outlet. They've got one that plugs into the wall. There's like adapters. It's got a Bluetooth pedal that you can use.
Yeah.
So it's meant to be like a portable wheel that's not needed to be plugged into electrical.
Which would be really nice for like what I'm doing right now, but
yeah. I don't know. It was a Kickstarter kind of deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that, if they're still on version 1 or if they're up to the next version that's a little better, but I would anything Bluetooth I'm a little iffy with. Like I don't want to rely on something like that with a wheel. I just feel like there's potential for issues. Like I don't want to go on a plane with Bluetooth headphones. Like I'd much rather have a wired set for something that I want reliability on versus something that I'm like, I don't know. So I feel like a wheel's a little bit. But have you used the?
Just so you guys know, the Quark S Plus, whatever that means, is $449, and the Quark Lit is $949. Holy shit, that's expensive.
$949.
Yeah, and it's got a 3-year warranty. Learn more. Let's learn more.
Oh
Why
my
is this
gosh.
$949?
Is it going to center the clay for you?
There's a pink one. Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
The pink one was the cheapest one when they were doing their Kickstarter, I think.
Little pink is $8.90. Why is the pink price less? Pottery wherever you are, blah blah blah. It looks like this one, the one that has the that's really expensive, I believe, has the battery pack.
The battery's what you're paying for that's so expensive. It's like a huge it's like a big power charger that you're
Yeah. It's huge. Like, I mean, it's the size of like
Does it say how
4
many
bricks.
MAHs it is or whatnot?
So I
Or
don't know
amp
what that is.
hours?
But it's 8 to 10 hours endurance, the battery, and the charging time is 90 minutes. The centering capacity is 25 pounds of clay, and it's 250 watts. So, meh.
The S Plus.
It's only 7 pounds, though. That does not seem like it would. That's stressful.
It looks like a small wheelhead too. It looks like it's about the size of a Spire wheelhead.
So it does, but I have heard. I think I saw that you can actually put a Giffen grip on it.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense because you can put the Giffen Grip Mini on the.
No, you can put a regular size Giffen grip on this.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you want to say about the Shimpo Aspire, and then we'll talk about
Oh
that.
yeah, sorry. Anyway, the Quark is there. We don't know how it works, but they do have a pink one, so there is that. Um, so the Shimpo Aspire has a smaller wheel head, and the thing that I hate the most about it is that it has particular bats that can fit to it, but you can't fit like regular bats on it.
Yeah, you have to get like Dirty Girl Pottery Tools. They sell bats that are Shimpo Aspire related
Yeah.
or that are compatible. I want to say the normal bat pins are what 10 inches apart.
Yeah, and those ones are like 7 or something.
Yeah, so even if you have, you might have those Speedball bats that have the inner pins and the outer pins, like spots, like those aren't gonna fit. You have to have bats that are special for that. So if you look out on Dirty Girl Pottery Tools, occasionally they have a second sale
Yeah, and
where they
those are worth
have
it.
discounted bats, and usually they fit perfectly. They might be a little too snug, but they sell them at a discount. And that's how I've got my Shimpo Aspire bats from them. I've probably got 10 or 12 now. I almost never use the bats or almost
Yeah.
never use the Shimpo Aspire, but I've got like 10 or 12 bats up for it now because there's no other bats that I have looked into to get for it.
Yeah, and what is interesting, well, also
What
what
about
I've done,
what do you have on yours? Do you have the hand thing for the speed?
I have the hand crank, but that's kind of, I like it. I like the hand crank. You have the pedal.
I have the pedal because I got mine used with the pedal. So
Yeah. I also got mine used, but it had the hand crank, so you don't really have a choice. It is, also what I was gonna say is that if you are a bat user, like a significant bat user, and you're like using this wheel all the time, what I also have done is just put a piece of clay down on the inner spokes and then just put bats on and off of it. Like, just use the clay to hold the bats down.
on the inner
So,
spokes.
so like if you took the bat off, it's got this weird little wheel head that you know for sure is not supposed to have clay on it. I put it on that wheel head between the bat pins.
Oh, I gotcha. You put a
Yeah.
patty of clay that's thick enough to where
Yeah.
it's not gonna
Yeah.
hit the pins that are in there. Because I don't.
Yeah.
Are the pins removable?
I don't know.
I don't think they are.
So let
Don't
me
quote
look
us
up
on
the
that.
price of the Shimpo Aspire. Babs, you really need to figure out your shit. Like, are you staying or are you going?
Her cats are. I don't know what her cats are doing over there.
Okay, so it looks like the Shimpo Aspire is is like 570. It looks like Bailey Pottery has it for 540. The ceramic shop has it for 540. So as far as Quark is concerned, I would get the Aspire over Quark any day of the week.
Okay. Yeah, Babs is like, I don't know what the fuck she's doing over there.
Yeah.
And then I like the Aspire. I don't use it very frequently. I got it used because it was a good price, and I was going to use it at demos for art shows. Not really art
Yeah.
shows, but at the farmers market that I sell at occasionally. They were like, "Hey, do you want to demo something?" And I ended up bringing my wheel a couple times, and I was like, I wish I had a wheel that was not so bulky. So that's when I got it. But I haven't done that at shows anymore, but it's nice to have. Occasionally, I will take it outside on the patio during nice days, and I'll throw a bunch of stuff on it without having to like move my Brents outside because I can't pick that up by myself, at least not safely. So it is nice for that. I put it on top of a table or whatever and throw on it. It's really lightweight. I'd say it's good for stuff like 5 pounds and under for the most part.
Yeah. Sorry, I just hit the mic. That was me. Yeah, definitely. It actually, so the Aspire does, it's weighted up to 25 pounds. So you can throw an entire block of clay on it. However, I would not recommend it. If you did that, you definitely want it to be backed up against a wall or something.
Yeah, that'd be a little risky.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the Speedball Artista.
Yeah,
The
so Artista, yeah. So that one's similar. Are you looking at the price on another site? I found it on there
yeah, it's
on
519.
Speedball's site. Yeah, Speedball has it on their website at 559 standard, and then there's a factory inspect used at 385.
Oh, fuck yeah, that's nice.
Factory inspected used. So those are out of stock on their website, but I want to say Clay King probably has some, and wherever you just said ceramic shop.
Yeah, the ceramic store has it for 519.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I
and
mean
what I
that sounds
like,
like a lot of money, but that's like the baseline for
yeah,
professional wheel, like well-known brands wheels.
right.
So
And what I like about the Artista, and I think that, I mean, like, I got the Shimpo because it was used. It was kind of like I would have gone for either. Um, what I like about the Artista is they do make legs if you want to put legs on it, and like a stand, and also you can fit a regular size bat on it, and that's like
yeah, I think
winner
that's the
winner
biggest
chicken
selling
dinner.
point.
Like that's the biggest selling point, really. I will say, um, the Aspire has a knob that's easy to like turn up and down if you're doing it by the hand, and the Artista only has like a small little turny knob. Like it would be the
You
difference
can
between
attach a wheel pedal to it if you want, I
you
think.
can, but if you're doing like the hand, like um, the reason I like the Shimpo hand one is because it's like a lever,
Hmm.
like on a slot machine, and the Artistas is like a knob, like on an oven. So that's a little annoying.
Yeah. But yeah, and then the wheel head on the Artista is I want to say it's not metal.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of what material it is.
it's like fiberglass.
11 it's a 11-inch wheel head. Yeah, it's kind of like a compact, yeah, like a hard plastic, but it's more durable.
Yeah. And both of the splash pans do come off.
Mm-hmm. The Artista has a more significant splash pan because it is a bigger wheel head, so
yeah.
it can catch more than the Aspire is just so sleek and small that like it's weird. You take the wheel the bat off, and then the wheel head is so small, and then the splash pan like twists like a quarter turn,
Yeah.
and then it comes up over top of the splash over the wheel head, so it's a single piece splash pan.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Okay, now that we've talked about the 3 viable options, uh, actually 2.5 viable options, what would you choose if you were gonna, like, throw full time?
Mm.
Not full time, but I mean, like, you know what I'm
I
saying.
mean, for me, the way I throw, I would need the Speedball that had access to use a full size bat,
Okay.
and it's got a
Honestly,
significant wheel splash pan that would work with
yeah.
what I would do.
If I was buying it again, I think that I would probably also go with the Artista. So,
I would
but
definitely want the pedal though.
yeah. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. But also, I will say that I'm 100% not upset with my Shimpo.
Yeah,
I would say that I'd probably get the Artista just because I can put actual bats on it, but the Shimpo's pretty great, and I wonder if you could actually, like, make a bat that's got a bat on top of a bat.
it just sounds yeah. I mean, it's a little hacky, but you can't change the splash pan on it. You'd probably have to take the
Yeah.
splash pan off to make it work. And then what are you
Yeah.
working with? You know, you got
Yeah.
a lot of mess.
For sure.
It feels like the also because the Shimpo is so small, it feels so compact that that little block area that's in front of you where the motor is, like if you had a regular size bat, it could become obstructive,
Yeah.
especially if you try to make like a bowl that's wide or whatever. It could potentially limit what you're trying to make. But
Oh, that should be stated too, is that actually both of them have, like, a little domey thing, like it's a taller piece on the wheel, so you can't make anything that wide. So keep that in mind. I would say the Artista is a little bit better for that. If you're
well, yeah,
looking at,
it's got a
like,
big the
width.
bigger wheel head and
Yeah.
that has a little more clearance to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Aspire with foot pedal on Ceramic Shop 605.
Yeah.
That their pedals are good though. So yeah, I
They
got
are?
my pedal. It's like regular Shimpo pedal, so it's like if you ever use those pedals, they're pretty
Oh,
good.
the Aspire pedal.
The
I thought
Aspire
you said
pedal,
the
yeah,
Speedball. I hate Speedball pedals. I like,
it's a little tight, but you could probably. I've never
yeah.
used a new one, but I got that Aspire with a pedal for like $300, I think, and it was barely
Yeah.
even used.
Same. Same. I think I bought mine for 350 and the lady, like, was like, "I'm gonna do pottery," and then, like, tried it twice and was like, "No." And she used it twice. Like, great.
Yeah,
It's in great shape. Um, yeah.
sweet. Okay, that was good. So, and what you're doing in your vehicle now, like that, the Aspire is working just fine when you need it,
Y-
or do you not really use it at all right now?
Honestly, I haven't even used it. And I will be using it though because now I have the the mini
Gift and grip.
yes, the mini Giffen grip. I will be using it because of that. But like it I didn't throw anything that wasn't in a studio while I was out. And I mean that might change, but I'm hoping that the way I do everything is that I'll throw everything first. And
Well, I
then
mean, you're hoping to be able to throw everything on your Soldner so you don't have to throw on the road, and you're just decorating on the
right,
road, right?
I'm just decorating and sanding on the road. So now that I literally it all stems from getting one of those stupid Giffen grip minis.
There you go. finding the right tool at the right situation is like
it's
definitely
like a necessary evil, and I hate it.
The Giff and Grip.
So yes, I was using it today, and the one that I have up in the studio is like kind of old, but I was like, God fucking damn it, I fucking hate this thing. Like, yeah, it's just it's so annoying sometimes, but it's like it's so useful, and I hate that.
Yeah, I've almost never used a Giff and Grip, maybe for 10 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So
I don't understand why my cat just can't stay still.
yeah,
like,
I mean, what the fuck?
Lloyd,
She's walked across your keyboard like 5 times. I don't understand it.
I don't get it. Like, Lloyd is literally sleeping. Like, he's just sleeping in the cat bed behind. And I have this cat bed that she refuses to sleep in because she's a fucking bitch. And not really. Babs is the nicest cat in the world. But, like, she just keeps walking across my keyboard like she's bored. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, figure it out, Babs.
Yeah, God.
Babarooski.
Babberoni. Little Miss Babble.
Babberoni.
I call her Miss Babble. And then my friends call her Miss Sniffles.
Miss Sniffles.
Yeah, because she's got a sniffle.
Nice. I feel like there was news ahead. Oh no, I'll figure it out. No,
what?
I just remember what it was, but we'll talk about it later. Maybe it'll be on a separate thing we'll talk about later.
Okay.
Do you want to ask the next question?
I would like to ask the next question, but I feel like we should talk about this adventure that I've been having with my friends recently.
Oh gosh, yeah, let's hear this.
They have
intermission time, folks.
Intermission with an ad. They have an old L&L kiln that came from Joshua Heim. Thank you, Joshua Heim. And through Rebecca Graves. And it is actually in a lot better shape than I remember it being. And the channels are still intact. The fucking elements look great, but they are old and worn. So the elements look great.
Did you figure out how old the kiln was? Or the number of firings or anything like that?
The firings, there's 350 firings on it.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. And I want to say, I think it was in 97 because the serial number has a 97 at the end. And so I was like, maybe it's 1997. I don't know.
I'm sure Dimitri could tell you how they serial number it.
Right. So I sent him the, oh my God, she's sitting in the bed. She's sitting in the bed.
All right. Don't look at her. She might change.
Okay. Sorry. So I,
you reach out to Dimitri about the kiln.
Yeah, and I've never changed elements for an L&L kiln. So I reached out to him, and we're going to do a little video, and I'm going to change out the elements in this kiln. And it's old as shit, but I think that'll be a pretty good testament, and we'll see how easy it is. So to change these elements out, and I'm really excited. I've never been excited about changing elements out before. So
sweet.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if they have those cool, like, and it's got the zone control still. I think that's crazy that even the old L&L kilns have the zone control still.
So are they like the one kiln that I have with the completely covered tubes, or how is it controlled?
It's controlled from 3 thermocouples, but they're not covered, so they're just regular thermocouples.
Oh, so they're not inside of porcelain at all?
No. And I mean, this motherfucker's old. This is an orange kiln. This is when their colors were orange.
Oh my gosh! Wow. But it looks But the shell of it looks similar? Or no, it's
No.
completely orange on the outside.
Yeah, like, and it's old. Like, no, it's like a silver shell, but like the box is orange and everything like that. So it's like old, old.
Oh, why?
So yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm excited to report back on how easy it is to change out these stupid elements, because I've only ever had kilns that you had to like bend the pin and like stick it in and like, oh, terrible, absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
So, but in other news, my favorite thing about the newest L&L kiln that Ryan got is the thermocouples, because they are covered by like a nice little porcelain tube, so the black stuff doesn't come out and and kind of like
Yeah, I
go
had
all
some
over
of
the
that
kiln.
flake off of my other kiln that
Yeah,
it's got a big fucking thermocouple. The Olympic one has like a 2-inch thermocouple sticking out, and
yeah,
it's a pretty big one compared to the L and the Scuts that are just little bitty wires that are, I don't know,
yeah.
maybe a quarter of an inch thick or something. The Olympic one's like a 3/8 of an inch or half-inch thick, and
Holy shit.
it flakes off. So that's like, hey, I need to replace this, but yeah, that doesn't get there. It happened with the L because the porcelain tubes hold it in there.
Also, another thing that I noticed that I really, really loved about the L&L when they were on like display at Insika is that, so for instance, my cone art, the box, when you have to like replace the thermocouple or replace anything inside the box, it opens up towards the left side. So like, but the way that it's positioned, it's right next to the wall, so I have to like shimmy into the wall to open up the kiln. And the new L&Ls, and I think actually most L&Ls, actually pull straight out, and so you don't have to like be on the left or the right side of the kiln. You could be on whatever side, and it just pulls out. And does that make
My
sense?
Yeah, mine, to get to the elements you have to swing it out to the left, but it
Yes.
can come completely off. But if you need to get to the electrical portions that are not the elements, you can
Yeah.
unscrew it and it flips downward, which is what they
Yeah.
had open at Insika, where it's got all the plugs and it's got like the spine of the different connections and stuff.
Yeah, and I think that is so cool, because I'm sure anybody that has a kiln that's next to a wall can attest. It is a pain in the ass to like kind of like sneak in there and then open it up if it's
Yeah.
swinging the wrong way,
Or if
you
you have
know?
kilns next to each other.
Yeah, it's such a pain. So I thought that was a really cool thing.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be cool to see because I haven't seen that old of a kiln, but it sounds like the insides are pretty much the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we asked for some, I think we're gonna buy some thermocouples and some relays, just like replace everything and make it a brand new fucking kiln on the inside,
Nice.
except for the box.
Do they have a
Um,
retrofit thermocouple covers for the older style, or you'd have to drill a bigger hole in the side to make that work?
I think you'd have to drill a bigger hole.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. But but yeah, oh, it is new enough to be electric, by the way. So,
What do you
to like
mean?
have a box. No, it's
Oh,
not a
it's got a
kiln sitter.
controller. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So whatever that means, how old it is. But yeah. So where would you go and buy a brand new kiln, Ryan?
Well, you'd look at the kiln options, see all the new ones, Genesis controllers, new LNL controllers at hotkilns.com.
Where? At hotkilns.com. That's what we're going with right now.
Hotkilns.com.
Hotkilns.com. Okay. uh, great. Okay, what's our next question?
All right, this one's toward Becca. It reads from mostly_mugs. Curious to know how Becca's firebox is working out for her now that it's been a bit. Could a firebox be a good workaround solution for a potter who doesn't have convenient access to a full-size kiln? Getting desperate and tired of driving 84 miles round trip to fire at a local store. I only make food safe cups, mugs, soup bowl, small bowls, spoon rests. So, firebox.
Okay. What I can say for sure is that this tiny ass kiln is the best investment I've ever made as far as pottery is concerned. It's fucking great. I would
Is it
love,
skewed
love it.
because of the things you're making, though?
Yes, but I was gonna preface it with that.
Okay.
It's the best investment I've ever had. However, I can only fit something that is 4 inches tall inside of it. So that means that these new cups that I have that are going to be 5 inches tall are out. I can bisque them in it, but I cannot glaze fire them in it. So if you are firing and only things that are 4 inches not tall, then it's fine. And so the interior dimensions of the kiln is 8 inches by 8 inches by 4 1/4, I think. And that's with no shelves in it. Not only that, when you're firing it with like cups and stuff, you have to hold a certain amount because it is so tiny. You have to make sure that it's hitting the temperature that it actually applies to. Now, I'm doing jewelry and also like not bisque firings. Oh, well, yeah, like bisque firings and glaze firings for the fancy cups. So the glaze firings are what I'm more concerned about, and I've kind of figured out that I have to fire to cone 6 if I want to get a 5. But I fucking love it. And also, I did talk to Dimitri about it, and I think that they might be working on a little portable kiln, like a
Yeah, they're trying.
110.
I think they're trying to find something that works with that 110 outlet, like your firebox.
Yeah, and so keep that in mind if you're, in the future. Anyway, but
Let's say they're making spoon rests the size of my spoon rests. How many of those could you fit realistically in that kiln for glaze?
for a glaze,
2.
2, maybe 3, maybe 3. The problem is, okay, so you could potentially fit it in, but like you would have to, like, I think that you'd have to like fire it on like
There's
cone 6 tiles because those are a lot thinner. You're not even
So use a
it's
tile like a shelf.
Yeah, you'd have to use like a tile, like a shelf, because they're a little bit thinner. The shelves that it only comes with one shelf when you get the kiln, but it's like almost 3/4 of an inch, and it's like the biggest waste of space on the planet. That's why I'm gonna get some advancer shelves for it because they're thinner and
Yeah,
will
because you
work
almost
better
have
for what I'm
to
doing.
4 inches. So 4 inches tall, and it's touching the top of the kiln. That's how deep the whole thing is.
Well, it's like 4 1/2
Four and a
if
half
there's no
inches.
shelf on the bottom.
Oh
And
my
most of the time
gosh.
I fire with no shelf on the bottom.
I
Like
couldn't
if
even
I'm just
imagine. That's not even a mug. Like,
Yeah, so I can fit 4 fancy cups in there and they barely fit, but they fit.
your tall
Um,
tumblers, you would not be able to glaze fire a tall tumbler in there.
no, I won't be able to glaze fire a tall tumbler. No.
Fuck. Is that a concern
So,
for you?
no. I'll just do them all at once here. Like
Okay.
that's fine. But like what Sarah also loves it, Sarah Anderson, who's my studio mate, like sometimes she has to like refire one cup and she uses it to refire one cup. Honestly, I wouldn't say that it's the best for a person that it's their only kiln, but it would be fucking great for anybody that has a huge kiln and like may need to test fire. But also what I will say is that I don't know, did our question talk about voltage or like did they can't have one because of
No. They're in California though. I don't.
Okay. Well, what I will say is that I think that so Scott has one that's one size bigger, and it does have a 220 plug, but I'm sure it's like minimal. And that one would probably be the best solution for somebody in this situation, because then you could fire just a few more, but it's still like it's probably, I don't know how big it is, but it's I think it's like a foot square maybe.
I feel like you could work with a foot. A
Yeah, you
foot
can work
deep.
with a foot.
You could
Yeah,
fit. Yeah, I mean, if you could fit like 10 pieces in there, that'd be nice. But talking like 2 or 3 pieces, that just sounds inefficient to me.
yeah,
If you're making for if I don't even want to say the word production, but if you're making wheel thrown work and you're selling it at a show,
yeah.
the quantity you need just doesn't sound efficient. I'm assuming selling at a show, but if you're doing a restock with 30 pieces, like how many firings would you have to do to get those 30 pieces ready for the restock? Like,
Yeah, so I have the firebox 8x4 LT. The firebox 8x6 LT, I'm pretty sure that's only a cone 6. If you were if you were like had to transport up and down, like if you're driving that far, this might be a good solution actually, because um why doesn't it say fucking Scott, like just say what temp it goes to? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
what about if you just got it to biscuit?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, if you just got the 8x6, which I'm pretty sure is just a cone 6 kiln, you could biscuit that and it would be perfect. And it's a 110 volt. So that one would be the one that I would recommend if you want to bisque in something and
That
you
would
need the height.
that would be nice because I feel like you would cut out the risk of breaking stuff on the way because
Yeah,
transporting greenware is the worst, especially 80 42 miles there.
yeah.
That sounds horrible. And then you got to drive there, drop the stuff, get it fired, and then drive
Okay.
there again to pick it up. Like,
Yeah, so here's our other option. So that's like 8 inches by 6 inches, but there is another one called the KM 614, and that was actually at the
you see,
Tilted Kiln
oh,
when we were there. And okay, so there's two other ones, the Glaze Tech and the KM 614. The Glaze Tech goes to cone 10, and it's a perfect little test kiln, and it's tiny. It is trying to run on, it's 120 volts instead of 240 volts. So,
that's just a
um,
regular plug.
no, it's not.
120 volt.
I think
100.
it's the plug with the sideways.
Okay. Well, 120 volt is a typical outlet. I mean, obviously you wouldn't want to run 120 on exactly 120 because it probably short it, but 110
Yeah,
volt is typically what they would say.
yeah. So I think it's just like a little different of an outlet, but it's still 120. And then this one, this is a KM 614, and I believe this one is also a cone 6. And you can put like shelves in it actually, and it has like height. But of course, because their fucking website sucks, I can't. There we go. This is 115 volt, and it's 20 amps. Uh, it goes to cone 6. So like in a pinch, you could fire it to cone 6. I wouldn't, but you could. You know, um, it's 13 inches deep and 11 inches wide. So that's a good, if you wanted something that was like in the middle and you wanted a small kiln that you could throw in that corner of your kitchen and it does use a special plug. It's the one that's like up, it's the winky face plug.
Mhm.
The one that's like up and then the sideways and then the little nose
Mhm.
mouth thing. That
'Cause
would be a really good.
I would suspect the limitation with the plug situation. Let's just
Yeah.
say, okay, you got to drive to and from, and maybe you rent a place. So
Yeah. So I
or you
think
live in
you
an
could.
apartment, like you can't have a kiln at your house. Or you
Yeah.
can, but it's a 120 volt, so maybe you can get away with it.
Yeah. I think that 614 would work. You know.
Okay.
I think you just have to change out the plug, and maybe it's like a specific fuse or something. I don't know.
I'm
I
looking
don't
at the
know
L and L,
anything about.
the base L and L 120 volt. It's got the easy fire on it. 9-inch high, 9-inch wide, half a
Yeah, that's
cubic
not
foot.
bad.
That's a doll test kiln, is what it says,
Yeah, that's what they usually are. And
and
then
it's a
I mean, you could
120
fit
volt.
you could fit 9 good sized cups in there. You know.
Yeah. I mean that it's not cheap, but it's like listed on their site at $1,800. That's a cone 5 though. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
The I believe the 614 was like 16 or 1700. So I think that's pretty standard price for
Okay.
what you're gonna get. But my firebox was 900, and I believe that the other firebox, the one that's the 8x6, is also 900. It might be 1,000. So
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what Dimitri said the limitation was. The only one that they have similar to it, 110 volt, is a cone 5 kiln. So maybe he was talking to you
yeah,
about a cone 10 option they're trying to figure out.
yeah, yeah, and like they use a solid state drive. They use a solid state relay in the Scut firebox. It costs like $85 for this fucking relay.
Well,
Like
actually, it looks like there
it's
is a cone 10 one, a DX. It
nice,
looks like it's the same size. Cone 10, 120 volt, Genesis controller, half a cubic foot.
nice.
Oh, hold on. I just saw a note. It said should not be used for high production more than once a week to their maximum temperature. The element life will not be acceptable under those conditions. 208 volt and 240 volt versions are rated to cone 10 under high production conditions. So, but if you're just using it for bisque, there's some
Yeah,
options out there.
for sure. And I mean, like that's really something you should think about if you can, because if you don't want to drive back and forth, if you can like build up all your inventory in bisque and like get it to that.
Take all your stuff glazed.
Yeah, that would be amazing, right?
Yeah, that's a good situation right there. I'd say,
Yeah.
I mean, gas alone, especially in California, it would add up over time.
Yeah. 100%.
Sweet. All right. An hour in.
Yeah, and I've
What are
got
we?
35% left on my battery.
Okay. I mean, you can charge it if you need to, correct?
No.
No?
No.
All right. Well, let's go. What are we talking about today?
So, we were talking about this conversation came up at Ryan's house. We were talking about my fidget stones, the fidget stones. They are tumbled in a rock tumbler, and that's the majority of the time spent is tumbled. So and I sell them for $10, and Ryan doesn't think that's enough for the amount of quote unquote work that is put into it. So what our question really is it does it
It
is
says
the passive.
how do you price something that requires additional hands-off time is what we called it,
Yeah,
but not necessarily more work for you.
yeah,
So is price more variable in that situation? Should you consider it a little differently because of different things that you have to wait on, even though it's not you doing something necessarily.
Yeah.
So your fidget stones were the topic of conversation. I don't have a 10. Well, my comparable item would be a shot glass that would be $10.
Yes.
And I was like, Becca, your fidget stone has more value than my shot glass.
Well,
That's
it depends on if you're an alcoholic or not, actually. But
if you're an alcoholic, I don't think you care to drink it out of a fancy shot glass. You're drinking that shit right from the bottle, or you're pouring it in a plastic cup.
Yeah, so let's just go over the timeline for the fidget stones so people can kind of like
and then
see
I can
where
go over
we're
my
starting.
timeline for a shot glass.
Yes. Keep in mind that this is still like to be tested, if that makes any sense. Like it's not set in stone for the fidget stones because they're a new product and I haven't been making them forever. So okay, so I squish out the stones out of my little extruder, and then I squish them onto a board.
You have to prep the clay first and get it in the extruder, right?
Yeah, I just make a log and put it into the extruder, and then I squish it out, and then I cut them up, and then I squish them down onto a board. And I would say if you gave me an hour, I could probably make 100 of them. Maybe more.
A minute a piece. Oh, sorry. That would be 60. 30 seconds a piece?
Yeah. Yeah. Easy.
You're talking about to just get them to a bone dry state.
Maybe less, honestly, like 10 to 15 seconds a piece.
That's not true. You have to spend the time. You got to count the loading the thing, pushing it out, cutting it up, squishing it. You're saying each one of those seconds added up is 10 seconds a piece?
Okay, we'll say 20 seconds a piece. 25.
Okay. I know we're getting super granular here with like, but you can't say that that's zero time. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like,
and then how many are you getting out of one extrusion? Is that 101 extrusion, or do you have to reload it a couple times?
I think it's probably like 35, 40 out of one extrusion.
Okay.
Maybe 50. And then and then this also matters if I'm at home, like in my studio or not, because if I'm in my studio, I'm more likely to just throw them in the slab roller and do them all at once with a piece of paper.
Is that more efficient?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just as efficient, I would say. I don't know for sure. Anyway, okay, we're doing it by hand though. So then they dry, and then once they're dry, I bisque them. And once they're bisqued, I put them in a rock tumbler, and I can fit probably.
And you're just kind of tossing those in a bisque kiln. They could break, but you're putting them in a bowl or something, and then you're putting the bowl in the kiln. It's not a lot of individual moving.
Right. And then I put them in a rock tumbler. Now the rock tumbler, I would say I put 30 in, maybe 20. No, not 20, 30. 30. And
you're limited because you have other items in the rock tumbler with it.
No, just they're a little bit big. So
but do you have other things with them, or are they just grinding on themselves with water?
They're grinding on themselves with water.
Okay. I know some of them have like pebbles and stuff you put in there.
Yeah, I've taken the pebbles out. I don't think it matters. And then they tumble for 1 day.
Okay. Does that depend on the clay you use, or is it all the same?
It's all the same. So they tumble for like 24 hours, and then after that 24 hours, I dry them out, and then I put them in the glaze fire.
Okay. You do have to. Can you still pile those in there in a glaze fire?
Yeah.
Okay.
and then I fire them, and then I take them out again, and then I put them back into a rock tumbler. Now they're smaller this time, so I can fit more in the rock tumbler. Probably like 40 in the rock tumbler. And then I have to do a medium grit, and then I do a fine grit. So the medium grit, probably a day, and then the fine grit.
What does that mean? You toss something else in there with it?
Yeah, like grit. So it's like a sandy material.
Okay.
So the medium grit and then the fine grit, and I would say that's 2 days of tumbling.
Okay. Does the grit like stay? Does it stay solid, or does it just get finer and finer the more you use it?
It gets finer and finer and gloopier. Yeah.
Okay. So you have to get more grit and stuff sometimes?
Yeah, but I've got huge jars and it's
Okay.
not expensive. So, I would say we're still testing this obviously, but I'm going to go with 2 days
2 days? What do you mean? Start to
of
finish?
tumbling.
Oh,
Yeah.
2 days of tumbling.
Yeah. And then once they're done tumbling, I take them out and then I dot them and then bisque them again.
You dot them. Okay. How long does it take to dot 100 of them? Let's say you have that same 100 that you did in an hour. How long would it take you to dot 100 of those? Maybe you're not dotting them all in one setting, but
I did like 40 yesterday and it took me like 20 minutes.
okay, so 20, 40,
So like 30 seconds
50
apiece.
50 minutes.
It takes me 30 seconds apiece.
Okay.
Tops.
30 seconds times 100, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then they go back in the kiln, the glaze kiln.
It honestly seems even less than that. It's so fast to dot them. It's so fast to dot them.
But you have ADD, Becca.
I know. Hold on. I took a video yesterday.
You're saying 30 seconds. You're saying 50 minutes. I'm saying give it 60 minutes. Like just I saw you dotting them, but it was sped up a little bit, I think. But
I just want to count how many are on this board. Hold on.
And then you've got the time to load your air pin up. I'm sure there's some swapping things out or whatever. Obviously, I'm getting super granular. It is all part of the process. Like it's part of the time spent.
So it's 25. It took me 9 minutes to arrange and dot 25.
Okay. And then
so we'll say 10 minutes for 25. So for 100, it'd be like
change colors or something.
Yeah, so 100 would be like 40 minutes just the dotting, and to add the glaze, it would probably be like 50 minutes tops.
Okay. And then you do have to load those in the kiln. Do you when you're doing them, are you doing them on a shelf so you can just take that shelf and just put it right in the kiln?
Yeah, I dot them right on the shelf.
Nice. Okay, so you put them in there and you bisque fire them to get them to that temperature so the stroking coats settle.
Yeah. And keep in mind these firings are 4 hours. They're 4-hour firings. So
okay.
So it's not like I'm waiting an entire day. Like I could put them
a firing is a firing regardless if it's 4 hours, you can't take it out 4 hours later. You still have to wait.
I can take it out 4 hours later.
It goes up and it goes down and you can touch it and unload it 4 hours after you start it?
I can load it in the morning and take it out at night.
Okay. And then you're starting another one, or?
I can, if I want to. Yeah. If I start it at midnight and leave, it'll be cool next time I come in the morning. Like it'll be 70 degrees.
Wow. And it's not even vented or anything. That's just natural. It just goes up and down that quick. Wow.
It's tiny.
And I'm sure with those,
It's got little legs.
You can open it up and kind of let it cool quicker too. If you would.
No, I haven't done that, but it literally takes no time at all to cool it.
Okay.
Oh, it's cold.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds like a lot of steps.
It's a lot of steps, but not a lot of work for each step.
Let's say you had. Okay, I guess I can go to my shot glasses that are the same price.
And let's also not discount the fact that it is like your shot glasses take up a lot more space than my little fidget
What do you mean
stones.
space?
Like to
Kiln
store.
space, or you're talking about
Both.
on the shelf?
Yeah, both kiln
Why do
space
I
and all
care
the other
about space
space.
though?
Well, I care about space.
Well, that's your problem. That's not my problem.
Well, fuck you. Okay, anyway, continue. Let's talk about your shot glasses.
Okay, shot glasses. I did a minute of clay prep, which would just be taking the 5-pound ball or whatever that's reclaimed and just wedging it. Whatever.
That Erica wedges for
No,
you.
she doesn't wedge the reclaim. I wedged
Oh, okay, never mind then.
because I'm the one that sets it out and like checks on it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I pretty much only use reclaim for that. Okay. Clay prep. Throwing it on the wheel. I considered it 45 seconds per item to throw.
Okay.
Cut it off, set it on the board, and then the next day when it's ready to clean up, I did about a minute. Maybe it's closer to like 45 seconds. Thumb it off, stamp it, set it. So
Okay.
dry it out, stack them, whatever, and then load them in and out of the kiln. I don't know, maybe that's, since I stack them up, maybe that's 15 seconds a piece. Okay, out of the kiln. Okay, maybe 30 seconds, I guess, if you include the unload. Okay, and then I wax all of them when they're
Okay.
bisque fired, or Erica does.
And he does the hot wax.
Hot wax, yeah. So I put about 15 seconds a piece, maybe, just to be conservative. 10 seconds a piece. I don't know.
Yeah, 15.
Just
We'll
because
say 15.
you're moving them around on the shelves and shit. Um. Okay, and then glaze. We'll say 60 seconds to be.
A minute each.
Yeah. And then loading them in the glaze kiln. Let's say 15 seconds.
Yeah, I think that's honestly that is a big difference too, right? Like
You can just throw
loading.
yours in. Well,
Right.
the
I mean, like,
glaze you
I
can't because you
can't.
got to place them, but
But while I can place them really quickly though, and then glaze them. I don't have to worry about like setting them down or wiping the bottoms or stuff like that. That is a difference. But I think the biggest thing is like, does that day between making stuff, does it matter? Like the day of it tumbling, does it matter? And does that cost money? Like obviously it costs money, but technically for me, it doesn't cost me money because my electrical is included in my studio rent. So it doesn't cost me any extra money to run the tumblers 100% of the time. And if I'm always working on a new set of fidget stones, does that time, like time spent tumbling, doesn't matter?
so I calculated mine to be about 3 minutes and 45 seconds per piece, start to
Okay.
finish. And then I don't know what to do with the 1 minute of clay prep time for the lump. That's probably maybe I could say the seconds of throwing is a little bit more, but
Yeah.
so 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Okay.
And they're $10 a piece.
How much did you calculate mine to?
I didn't calculate yours. That's your job.
Well, bitch, you were writing things down.
I was
thought
writing my shit down.
Fuck you! I did not know this was the plan.
It wasn't the plan, but I thought you were keeping a mental note of all the. I wasn't doing it down to the seconds. I mean, you're saying the numbers of how many you could do, but.
Okay, hold on. I'll do it. Okay, so it was. Hey, do you got a little calculator? I could say it to you.
I mean, you can call it out. What's the clay
Okay,
prep time to get it in the gun and the extrusion?
25 seconds. And then we'll call all of the adding to
You
the
can
tumbler
prep
and all
it and
those
extrude
things.
all of it in 25 seconds?
25 seconds each.
Each, okay.
Okay, and then we'll call adding to the tumblers and stuff like that. We'll say that that's like a minute each, I guess.
So that's add. What about the low? You're already to the bisque stage. Are you not counting any of the time to put it in and out of the kiln or anything like that? Or
I added that to
on
a minute. I'm combining all of the kiln and loading into said rock tumbler into a minute because it probably takes me like 10 seconds each time, like super fast.
Okay.
And
what's next?
Glazing them and adding them to the board, we said 30 seconds.
Okay. And then what?
That's
Unloading them and that's it?
Yeah.
What is that?
Unloading them, you just take them out and plop them onto a desk.
So 5 seconds. I don't know.
5 seconds. It's all of the time that's like tumbling, you know? That's the
Okay,
time.
so yours is about 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Okay. 2 minutes, mine's 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Okay. But like most of mine is not me touching it at all.
Okay.
Does that matter with the cost?
How long would it take you? This was the next thing that I was thinking of. Based on the current options that you have, the equipment that you have, how long would it take you to take 100 from soft clay to finished? Given that you have your small kiln.
Probably 8 days.
8 days. Okay. And can you think through how did you calculate that in your head?
Yes. The day that I make them, I would put them in the kiln that night. I'd pull them out, and then I would.
So that's making them and bisquing them the same day. You can fit all 100 in one kiln.
Oh, easy.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I would start doing sections for like I would.
You have to glaze, fire, glaze, fire, glaze, fire, glaze, fire.
Right. I would tumble, glaze, or tumble, fire, glaze, tumble. Like I would have to go back and forth and back and forth.
But how do you tumble? Well, I guess you said you can tumble 30 or so, so you'd only lose time in that middle section right after you fire it the first time. You tumble 30 or so.
Right. Like I'm doing that right now, quite literally right now. Like I've already tumbled 3 sets of the stuff that I fired at your house. Mm-hmm. And I'll be tumbling the glaze set tomorrow. But I actually plan on going to Harbor Freight and getting the double tumbler because I've wanted one for a really long time and I feel like finally it's worth it.
So it's like 1 day tumble, and then for that day of tumble, you have enough to glaze what, 2 kiln loads?
Yeah. I think I could do 1 day of tumble I could glaze in a full kiln.
So one tumble for 1 glaze.
Yeah.
Okay. So within that single, because you have to stagger it, so Make one day. The next day, tumble, 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 tumble. Next day, glaze while you're tumbling another batch. And then you got to repeat that for, what, 4 firings?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it probably took like 8 days to do 100, right?
Okay.
But that's just with one tumbler. If I had the 3 tumblers, which I'm going to go get probably tomorrow.
We were just going about what you currently have.
Right, but when I currently have tomorrow, and by the time this comes out, will be 3 tumblers.
Okay, and what would that day cycle be?
I could probably get like 100 done in like 5 days.
5 days, okay.
Maybe less.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's where the variable was of you figuring out where the tumbling equilibrium is of, for one, you found out tumbling at bisque shaves off time versus tumbling in
lots
clays.
of time. Lots of time.
And that's just because the clay is just less hardened and less like it's
got a lot more
conducive to sanding.
It can move. And what's cool is that like I don't have to worry about how they look when I smush them down, because once I put them in the bisque tumble, it like makes them all look like little pebbles, like perfect little pebbles. And when I was tumbling them when they were solid, like when they were vitrified, it would take like 5 days for them to get like to a point that even resembled that, and they'd all be a little bit different. So
yeah,
they look a lot better now. But I have your clay this time, which is a little grittier. So I don't even know how long it's going to take to tumble, because
see, that's what I was wondering. You said it was a day to tumble, but I wonder with the speckled if it's going to be the same or if you're going to need to add half a day to it or.
Right. We don't know, but I can report back. But anyway, back to the original question. Do you think I should charge more because I'm tumbling them?
Well, I don't think that's the full reason you price something the way you price it, but just with all the steps you explained, like mine sounds way, I don't know, maybe mine's not way easier. It just sounds like you're more limited by time than I am.
Maybe, yeah. I think that for me, it's really easy, and it's also like not my only, it's not my only thing I'm doing. Just
so you're
like
context switching a lot.
Yeah. So like while it's tumbling, I'm doing other stuff that's still making me money, and like as opposed to, it's like some people sand by hand, like my cups I sand by hand, and like that is all happening without my hands doing anything.
Does because you know that the tumbler is working, does that give you more of a reason to not work in that time? Okay.
I mean, like it totally depends. Like, right? Like if I make all of my money from fidget stones, abso-fucking-lutely. But
yeah,
but I don't.
I'm saying that does it mentally register in your brain at all that you're like, oh well, I'm throwing that on the tumbler, something's getting done right now, so I can relax for an hour or two.
No, it's like, hey, that's great. I'm throwing them in the tumbler. I can go do other stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that never really crosses my mind, especially like when I do the earrings, because I can throw the earrings in with the fidget stones, which is nice. But the earrings only tumble for 6 hours. It's always like, I gotta tumble these for 6 hours and then kind of get back to it. And yeah, it'll be nice to have 3 tumblers for sure, because I can have just one that's for earrings and it's timed.
Okay. I was trying to calculate the days if I had to work at quick as possible to get 100 shot glasses done. And I think mine, if it was as fast as possible, would be like, I mean, the kiln would not be full, but it would be like 5 days probably at best.
Right.
5.5.
If you had a kiln that fit all of your 100 shot glasses, like perfectly.
Which I do, but if I was in your situation, it would probably be closer to like, it'd be like 2 weeks probably.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there's, how much are you factoring in the work involved in making them with the price versus what it is? That how many fidget stones do you see out there that are clay? Like who are you competing with and what function does this serve? What purpose is it versus a shot glass? I think that should the unique factor and the like niche factor.
Fuck, I was gonna sell them for $5 originally. I was, and then like when I did them, I was like, oh my god, this hurts my hand so fucking much. And so I was like, I'm selling them for 10. And
I mean, you had
they
to buy a
sold
specialty
fine.
tool partially because of that, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
You
they
didn't
help
have
with,
to, but you
and it helps literally everything else that I do. But
would you
but
make them
yeah,
if you did not have the airpin?
no, I would not.
Why?
100% no, because my hand would die.
Are you limited on it? Like if you had to do 100 of those glazing in a day, would that kill you? Like would your hand be dead, or is that a or do you have a
My
cap?
hand would hurt. My hand would hurt. I
Well,
did.
just with the airpin, like can you do 100 in a day with the
No,
airpin?
that's what I'm telling you. Like I did 50 yesterday and my hand hurt. It
Okay.
didn't hurt a lot, but I could tell it was like starting to go numb. Now, uh like it definitely does not hurt. It just kind of like felt a little bit numb. And also I'm considering if I can put like a piece of tape over it and have it be like the right,
Partially
air
block it
block.
or something?
Yeah, to see if that works.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I think that if I held a pen for an hour, my hand would hurt. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what I'm holding. But yeah, no, definitely would not ever make them if I didn't have an air pen. I wouldn't even make the dots on the back of my cups if I didn't have an air pen now. So like the air pen is essential to what I'm doing. Um, but yeah,
And
that's just
I was talking to you about it because I was wondering when we were talking about the tumbling, I was like, how much do you think that the softness helps sell it versus the dot action? I thought the dots were like a 60-40. Like the dots were more important to me than the softness of the
the
tumble.
softness. Yeah.
Maybe seventy
I
thirty dots over tumble, but
When people pick it up, people are like, "Oh, I love that this is soft on one side and bumpy on the other." Like I think that it serves two purposes for
mm,
people. And I think that the softness is extremely important. Um, as somebody that has like sensory issues, I think it's really important. Cause like if it was bumpy and if it was not soft, it was scritchy, and there was bumps on it, me as like a neurodivergent person wouldn't touch it.
yeah. Would you
I'd be
ever
like,
sell them as just soft,
I
no
might.
dots?
That'd be real easy.
How much would you sell that for?
$7.
Because you don't have the bisque fired anymore, right?
No,
Would you tumble it? You already tumble it twice, right? Or you don't? You tumble it once?
you'd tumble it twice.
Do you still tumble yours twice right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So you still tumble it twice.
Yeah. I mean, like, it is nice to only tumble them once. Like, it would be nice to just, like, pull them out of like, do a once fire and then throw them in the tumbler. Like, I actually don't know which takes less time, but, like, the result is so much better. They look so much better
The thing
when
is,
they're
you could
tumbled at
totally
this.
test it when you get the second tumbler. Like you can test
Right.
them side by side
I
and just
could.
be like, "This was a 5 hour one. This was an 8 hour one. How do they compare?"
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I'm stoked about that.
And then you could be like, okay, well, I know this clay I can do for 75% of the time of this clay, so you
Right.
shave off time here and there.
Right. And like that's what was nice about the I have no idea if this is going to be an interesting episode at all. It sounds kind of boring to me. But I like maybe somebody will think it's interesting. But but what was nice about the earrings is that it is exactly 6 hours is like perfection on how I want them to feel, you know? And so I have a fucking plug that has a timer in it. And I just hit 6 hours and it goes for 6 hours. And I don't even have to worry about it. So it would be nice to see if like a 6 hour session is enough. You know, when they're tumbling rocks, it's like a week. Like they just set it and forget it, you know?
Because you were talking about you did it for 3 days at one point in the past, and I'm like, you spent 3 days tumbling that thing? Like
I didn't
straight?
spend 3 days. I put it in the garage and walked away and did
I get
other
it, but
things.
it was running for 3 days. I'm like, wow, that's a
Yeah.
long time for 30 stones. At that
It
point,
was
I think
probably
you
more
are
than
the
30.
value is part of the situation there, where like you have to price it because you're limited based on you have to run it for 3 days if that was the true
Yeah.
gauge.
Yeah, and I mean like I used to have like this huge rock tumbler. I think it's actually at Rebecca's, and it would probably hold like 100 at a time, but it stopped working for some reason, and I don't know why. And that would be really nice to have, like a big rock tumbler, but they
Hmm.
cost so much money. So
Hmm. So, are you considering wholesaling them at all? Does the wholesale price factor in with that $10? That would you be happy with $5 each for them?
I think I would. I'm also considering consigning them because they're such an easy consignment. It's like just send them a bowl. You don't have to worry about it, you know?
You've got 50 here. You know,
Right.
they're easy checkout purchases, probably.
Right. So I actually talked to Queen City Clay. He
Oh, they
said
are?
he'd be interested in some. Yeah, and I talked to Link, and Link said she'd do it.
Wow,
And
there you go.
so yeah, I would really like to make all my money from fidget stones. I
And I
wouldn't
mean,
hate that.
and I don't know if I came up with the idea or we just tossed it around, but I was like, can you go to like a psychiatrist or somebody that does with
Yeah,
mental, like the neurodivergent people? Like, is there a way to get in with people that
yeah,
would resonate from something like that do like art therapy or whatever, where they would have
yeah.
an appreciation for that?
And I talked to Chris Birch too, and he said he'd sell them too.
There
So
you
like,
go.
and
Has
he gave me some names in which to look, like a website, and then I could just like
I'm
contact
sure you
people.
could give some to Isaac Shue. I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
I don't know.
You don't think
I
so?
don't know.
Maybe.
I
I don't
don't know,
know. Maybe
Isaac.
we're putting that
Who
idea in his
knows?
mind a little bit. But yeah, I
He
think
probably.
that the see that's what I think the uniqueness of it. That's why I'm just like maybe it's just because I'm so dulled to the shot glasses because I've been making them so long or whatever, or shot
Yeah.
glasses are a dime a dozen. That I'm like, there's no way the shot glass has more value to somebody than a fidget stone.
Right. I think that, well, it also matters in the sense of people lose it, you know? Like I haven't sold a lot. Like I have sold a lot, but the ones that I haven't were because, oh, I'd probably just lose that, you
But they
know?
get way more value. They could get 10 minutes of value just finding it and using it for a day. Like
I know.
ten
I
dollars
know.
is the cost of like two coffees, right? You're
Yeah,
telling me that they don't have enough value out of those two coffees they drank? Like,
I know. I don't know if we said anything last week, but the reason this is such a big issue, or not issue, but a hot topic for us right now is because I passed like probably probably like 100
I
out.
don't know how many you had in NC. I thought
I
you had
had
more
a
like 50, but
maybe 50. I had a full Ziploc bag of them, and they were small. I'm making them much larger now so that people can find them easier. But they were like tiny, and I just started handing them out to people at Ensika, and it was a giant hit. So like it was
Yeah.
a
I
very
mean, you're giving them away for
affirming.
free. Who's going to turn
Yeah,
that away?
right. And Danny Meisiger, but
Okay, 1 out of 100 people, whatever.
he turned it away because he was like, I'm gonna get distracted when I'm talking.
That's the point.
Yeah. It was so funny. But yeah, and people were just like, even like Kurt and everybody I gave him to, they're like, we were rubbing this all freaking all the
I think it's
whole
like a
Artista.
subtle marketing thing that
Yeah,
you're in people's minds and they can't forget about it unless
yeah,
they lose it. But like, I almost think if somebody buys a fancy cup from you online, you should ship them a fidget stone with it for free,
I will. I will
and
now
it's
from now
just
on.
like a
Yeah.
little extra, and they can get. I mean, hopefully they don't lose it in the box or whatever, but they can get a feel for it, and they're like, "Oh my God, I love this! I want to buy some." And then you've got them on your
Yeah.
site, and then you've got them at shops here and there, and like they're easy to ship.
They
And
are easy to ship. And I've been selling them on Etsy, and this is a point of like weirdness for me right now because I sell them on Etsy for $10, but I ship them for free. And typically I bank on somebody buying one and something else so that when I ship it, it makes sense. I don't really
have you
count on them
buying one
buying
by itself?
one. Yeah, but it has happened a few times, and then I'm like, well, it's okay. I'm still making money because it's like still $7. Um,
And then Etsy takes their cut, so you're making like $6.
so it's like wholesale. It's like 5. But I eventually I'll raise it up a little bit. I think I had it at 13 and they were selling, but I figured for now I'll still have them at 10 just to maybe 11.50 or something like that, just so that they get a little bit more traction. But they've been getting really good traction on Etsy. Like I've been like selling actually on Etsy. I just shipped out 7 packages yesterday and I just got 3 orders today. I'm elated.
That's great.
I'm
I didn't see.
I'm
I know you were shipping the mystery box and the earrings, but I didn't know you were shipping fidget stones
yeah.
very much.
Yeah, and the fidget stones is what like caught off on Etsy, and like people were like, "Oh," and because Andrew like went through my whole description and was like autistic, neurodivergent, like blah blah blah. And so,
I mean, like they're
yeah,
great for kids. Like my mom
yeah,
got them from you, and she put them in each of our Christmas stockings. So I think the kids got ones
yeah,
too. And
yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like it's more valuable than $10 to me. I don't know. I just can't settle on 10 and like make it doesn't make sense to me. Like all these different things that you're talking about, like
Yeah,
there's potential for you to make like 1,000 of them, and I feel like you could sell 1,000 of them in a year, and that wouldn't be unreasonable.
I agree.
Would you be scared with 1,000? Like if you had to make 1,000, if a business was like, I want 300 of them, make me 300. Would you be happy with $5 a piece if you made 300 of them?
Hell yeah.
Like that's what I was trying to say. Like, hey Becca, you should price them at like $15 or 12. Like I feel like a minimum like 12. I don't know.
12, 13, something in there. Yeah, I might get to that. I want to do a little research and see how people like them.
I mean, I think you can get some good karma out there if you just give them to a bunch of people that are in the right spots.
I 100% plan on it. That's why I just made all those ones that were black because I'm going to send them out to little stores. And I finished my line sheet. And so I'm going to print off a little QR code and write them a note and say, hi, my name's Becca and I sell these fidget stones. And I'll probably send like a little earrings in there too and be like, my name's Becca. I make these fidget stones. Here's my line sheet. Like, I'd
I
love for
mean,
you to sell them and I'll make you
yeah.
a little. I also am gonna, part of the marketing for these two is I want to make a little bowl for them that I can, like, the first order comes with a bowl,
Oh, a
you know?
display bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the one negative is they're not easily searchable. So the people that get them don't necessarily know where they came from,
Right.
which
Yeah.
makes it a
And
little more
and
difficult. But I don't know.
And
Maybe
somebody
there's
was like, how would you do that? Could you like stamp them and like on the back with like my name on it? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, could I put them? Could I do like one of those sharp, like, an actual stamp and put it in the oven, bake it in the oven? And
sounds like too much time. I feel like the stamp
yeah,
it's
like,
like a stamp like I have, like a subtle stamp like I have that's easily searchable, easily Googleable, and maybe it gets to your Etsy somehow. I don't
but like
know.
stamping each of them takes like so much more time, you know? And I'm tumbling them in the rock tumbler, so it's like,
So you just got to work harder to get them marketed to people and get them in the right shops so that you can just make and make and make and deliver to shops and let them sell them, you know?
right, exactly. Like, I don't think it's going to be something that people are going to be able to find, you know? So,
I mean, and then at some point it could be worth the time for you to stamp all those because it breeds the marketing and you can just
yeah,
coast on the familiarity and people finding you through some random shop that they got it in West Virginia or whatever.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I was thinking, like, maybe if I stamped like the side, I don't even know. I don't know how I would sign them or stamp them so that it wouldn't affect the purpose of them, you know?
Yeah. I don't know unless I was thinking
You know, I
is there
could.
some dots that you can always use three dots in a certain pattern or something that's significant that is recognizable that's three colors specific color that's not the same color as the thing and I don't know.
Well, I could. What I could do, I suppose, is. Oh,
What if you did five lines on them and then you put dots around it or something?
no, 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 no. What if I got like, what if for each of them I got like a little glue dot and just glue dotted my business card to the back, and so you could still feel the
The regular
front
business card that you have?
or whatever, or even if I had something tiny, like a little tiny 1-inch sticker, and
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
sticker, but like,
like a clear sticker
yeah,
that's really
and
thin and it
just,
says five lines on it or something
yeah, and they could take it off.
or a QR code or something like that.
Yeah,
I like that idea. I mean, that would probably be worth putting them on the bottoms of all of them, you know?
yeah. Um, I could also put it on the bowl that it's selling out of.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, I mean, it sounds crazy, but like, there's a business in just the fidget stones. Like, I can see the potential.
I can too. There is a business in the fidget stones.
And, like, I think you, like, struck gold here. You just got to get into the right spaces with the right people
Yeah.
that it works with. And, some of that's just getting it in their hands, and then they're like, okay, like, what's the risk here? You know, you know, I
And I
don't
mean, like,
I don't see how people would not like understand it.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. And even if it's like, and it's such an easy consignment situation too. So if it's like there is no risk if I'm like, "Hey, we could consign them. I'll take 60%, you take 40. I'll take 70%, you take 30." Something like that?
Hmm.
Yeah.
See a lot of cold emails in your future.
I'm going to just send cold mail. I'm just going to mail them to people.
There you go. Just send it to shops that you think it would look good in.
Yeah, I've been planning on asking on my Instagram if people have local shops to them that have like little knickknacks or little toy shops, like
Hmm.
game stores. They'd be perfect in a game shop, like a board game shop, because everybody that plays board games are weirdos like us.
Woodburn Games here in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
There's one right up the street from me. Monster Games, I think is what it's called.
yeah.
So good. Yeah, I feel like those would definitely. I mean, they're a little artsy, but I feel like they'd be in the right spot, and that like for them, it takes no real estate. It takes a counter space. So like you can have the smallest shop, but all it needs is a
Yeah.
little bitty counter to put them on,
Yeah.
and that's it.
For sure. 100%. Yeah.
I'll give you a list of some places.
Thanks. I'm working on it. It's one of those things where I want to like do it right. I'm thinking about like just having, I want to have like just a write up on the fidget stones because I have my line sheet, but the fidget stones aren't really like highlighted. It's mostly the jewelry. I need to have like the fidget stone has its own line sheet. It's its own story.
I just feel like it, and you don't have to get all like ooh about it. Like
No.
fidget stones are approved to blah 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 blah. This is for people that have XYZ, and when they have something like this, it helps them reduce their stress and get all like, you know what I mean?
No, it's just like, hey, these are really great to fidget with.
Yeah.
Like straight up.
Yeah, I think the simplicity will speak for itself, and the you
Yeah.
could get all fancy pantsy on it, but I don't know. Feels too markety if it's too much of that,
Yeah. For sure. Can't
Okay.
wait to do some in obsidian.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean and it hopefully the places are cool and they're just like give me 50 of whatever.
Oh,
And then
I'm not gonna. I said on my wholesale that it's either artist choice or one color. Like, I yeah,
yeah,
I will. Yeah, like I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not doing 15 of this color, 15 of that color. No, thank you. For
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, nobody really cares the color. They cares how it feels.
yeah. I mean, maybe if they're giving it to a kid or something,
Yeah.
they're like, the orange one is Johnny's and the blue one is Sally's.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
not fighting over whose is whose and shit.
Yep.
Okay. I'm like writing shop names down here. Yeah,
We
I
should
mean,
probably go soon.
man, such a good idea. Okay. Regardless, I think you'll. I don't know. I just feel like they're naturally going to go up in price, and
I think
maybe I'm
so.
maybe I'm pushing you too, but also you do the same for me of like pushing me on price for certain things. So it's like,
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. And I'm like feeling it out. I'm feeling out the market a bit.
yeah, because I know ultimately you're looking for less work, more profit,
Yeah.
and especially with if you're going to wholesale them, like $1 each difference is going to add up for sure.
Yeah.
So
For sure. Yep.
okay, sweet. Hopefully this was helpful for people. I don't know if it was or not, but
But
um,
they can't all be winners.
I mean, I was trying to when we initially talked about it, I was also relating it to like slip casting and stuff, where you're limited
Yeah.
based on the time of things to dry, so that you can like do the next step. And that's its
Yeah.
own thing. I almost want to talk to a slip caster like Kurt or somebody about that, and whether that factors into how they price some items and limitations of that. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm sure there's other similar tasks that are. But I feel like somebody listening to how you talked through all those steps are like, that sounds like way more than $10 just in like spending that effort to do all that stuff. I get it. It's
Right. And then like but then when you're in my shoes and I have a rock tumbler going 24/7 and it's just my normal, it's just normal, you know? It's not any work for me. It's just like,
as
oh,
long
I
as it's
have to.
not throwing you off that it's like, okay, I got an alarm now. I got to stop, clean my hands. I got to go make sure that I'm around so I can
No.
swap the tumbler over, switch the things
Like,
out, clean it
yeah,
out. Like it sounds like
as
nothing, but
long
it
as
could.
as long as I have all the right materials which I actually need to bring up my box from in here. As long as I have all the right materials, it's a piece of cake. It's like, oh, change out the rock tumbler. Okay, wash them off.
Mm-hmm.
On to the next.
I would suppose there's also options to have several rock tumbler containers.
Yeah.
So you like take the one off and just put the other one on, and then you clean it whenever you need to.
It's easier just to clean it right away.
Oh, okay. You just dump it all out. Rinse it.
I just dump it in a strainer. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. It's easy. So I got a system down.
Yeah. Alrighty. Thanks everybody for listening. And we will
Thank you.
catch you next time. Get some fidget stones if you don't have any.
They're on my Etsy.
Find somebody to gift them to. And your Etsy is just 5 Lines Pottery. Is that right?
I think so. It's linked in my bio in my Instagram.
Okay. Sweet. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you next time.
Sweet. Bye.
Bye.